Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi, amma ba'du. What continues to be an amazing phenomenon concerning Bani Adam and their religion is how we find people worshiping Allah Azza wa Jal, and the integral fundamental aspects of their religion are difficult for the common person to comprehend or to understand. And yet the person insists on remaining upon that particular thing that he believes in. You take the Christians for an example, and they believe that Isa is the son of Allah. And they believe that Isa, the Son, and God the Father, and God the Holy Spirit, in what they understand, each one of these deities is a unique and separate entity unto itself, and yet they equal one. It's difficult and complicated to comprehend. And that is a main aspect of their religion. It's what their religion is built upon, and it's difficult to comprehend. It doesn't make sense. The Yahud believe that Uzair is the son of Allah. And they believe that Palestine is a land which Allah Almighty promised them and He gave to them. This is their religion. That they are Allah's chosen people and that land belongs to them. So if you were created and you were born and raised in that land, you and your forefathers for hundreds of years, they actually believe that He can move from New York to Palestine and take over your home. Although you have papers to that property. And that property was in your land, in your hands, with your forefathers for hundreds of years. But they believe that it's their land, it's their property, which allows them to commit all kinds of atrocities on the Palestinian people. And I don't have to sit here and give you some of those examples, but let not the situation go under the radar with all of the confusion going on in the Muslim world. A lot of things are happening in Palestine that we're not aware of. One of them is the incident in which a captain in the army was in some security zone, and a little 10-year-old Muslim girl coming home from school, walking with a bag on her, she wandered off accidentally into that little security zone, a no-go area for the Palestinians, and it's their land anyway. The captain, after having a discussion with the people who were watching her with binoculars, he said, shoot her. And he took it upon himself to shoot her with a high-powered rifle. And after her lifeless 10-year-old body was on the ground, and she dropped the bag and was walking around, and one of his own men said, she's a small girl and she's scared to death. She dropped the bag. The captain still blasted her. And then, for good measures, he pumped into her body 13 more bullets while she was on the ground. And after going to court, they let him go. And he said, if she was a 3-year-old Palestinian girl, I would have done the same thing because she breached the security. And it's her land. And it's the land of her fathers. But religiously, he believes that he can do that. And they believe that they can do other things. How can a human being believe something like that? Muslims, we fall into the same issue, ikhwani. We believe in issues that don't make sense. And we hold on to these issues, although they go against our religion. And one of them happens to be a fundamental, integral part of the vast majority of Muslims in Birmingham, in London, and the UK, and Pakistan, and other than that. And that's our brothers from the Brawi background, who believe that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as they said, Hazir Nazir, that the Prophet is salawatullahi wasalamu alayhi, omnipresent, that he is omnipotent. He's everywhere at all times. He knows everything and he can do everything. It's as if the Muslims did not read the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Laysa kamithlihi shay, wa huwa as-sami'ul basir. Nothing is like unto Allah. No one is like Allah. Allah is as-sami' al-basir. Nothing is like Allah. Allah is omnipresent. The Prophet is not omnipresent. Allah is omnipresent. لم يكن له كفوا أحد. No one, nothing is similar to Allah. هل تعلم له سميا? Do you know that Allah has a similarity, someone similar to Him? Allah is the only one who is omnipresent, subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. He is with you people wherever you go. Wherever you go. He's with you in His ability to see and hear and His knowledge. But He, subhanahu wa ta'ala, is above the 7 heavens in a way that befits His majesty over His arsh. That's our aqidah. How can someone now come on some of these so-called Islamic channels like Noor TV, like Medini channel, like these channels that peddle in shirk and kufr, Ummah TV, Ummah channel. I'm here to tell you, it's not permissible for Muslims to watch those channels. It's haram. It's haram. You can't watch the channel about Ahl al-Bayt. And that's not because we are against when they mention Allah's name or they read an ayah. No, not because of that, but because of the shirk and the kufr and the bid'ah that they are peddling on those channels, passing it off as al-Islam. A person will go astray. It will cause the destruction of a person's life. So I saw, amazingly, the one who they call Shaykhul Islam, giving the tafsir of the Quran. And wallahi, if that is the Shaykh of Islam, then ma salama an al-Islam, if that's Shaykhul Islam. If their masajid are the model mosque, and I'm not against those people because of their being just people. I'm talking about the aqidah of what people believe in. If the model mosque is the mosque of Brahwiism and what they believe, then ma salama on al-Islam, if that is what the model mosque happens to be. So the Shaykh of Islam, and wallahi ikhwani, his aqidah, he is not tahir in his aqidah. Wallahi. And he is not qadir in trying to explain the truth. And he is not on the minhaj of the Quran. But when he gives the tafsir of the Quran, he takes the statement of Allah Azza wa Jal, in which the Prophet described, Allah described the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Quran and in the Torah with the same description as some of the r&amp of Islam have mentioned. Ya ayyuhan nabi, inna rasalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran wa nadhira wa da'iyan ila Allahi bi idhnihi wa sirajan munira. The person takes those ayat and those characteristics and they say, based upon these ayat, Allah is telling us that the Prophet is Hazir Nazir. O Nabi, verily we have made you, we have sent you. Allah, I have sent you. And I have sent you as a person who is shahid. I have sent you as a person who is mubashir. I sent you as a nadhir. And I sent you as a person calling to Allah, giving dawah to Allah. And I sent you as a siraj munir. Those are some of the many characteristics that Allah Azza wa Jal described Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Shahid, ikhwani, it means to witness something. It also means to be present. All of you are shahid right now. Were you at the khutbah today? Yes, I was shahid. I was there. I sat there and I listened and I saw. You're a shahid. But that shahid does not mean that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is everywhere. The Nabi of al-Islam didn't call to that. The meaning of shahid in this ayat is that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, while he was with his companions, he was witnessing what they were doing. When they said things that were from shirk, MashaAllah wa shitta ya Rasulullah, he said, don't do that. When they raised him above his station, he said, don't do that. When they would swear and say, I swear by my father, he would say, don't do that. Ya Rasulullah, ij'al lana, make for us that al-anwat. Kama lahum that al-anwat. Make us a tree so we can get power from it like they have a tree. He would say, don't do that. He would witness what they were saying and what they were doing. And he would say, don't do this and this is okay. So while he was with them, he was a witness. And Yawm al-Qiyamah, he's going to be a witness. He's going to be a witness over us. And we're going to be a witness, inshaAllah ta'ala, over all of the prophets and all over the people. Allah ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. We have made you people, al-Islam, the Muslims, an ummah that is in the middle, an ummah that is the best ummah. And we have made you witnesses over all of the other people. And we made the Nabi, the Rasul, a witness over you. So in what was collected by Imam al-Bukhari, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu, he said that Allah Ta'ala will have Nuh brought Yawm al-Qiyamah, and it will be said to Nuh, did you explain the message to your people? He'll say yes. Then it would be said to his people, did Nuh explain the message to you? The people will say, Ma ja'ana min nadhir. No one came and warned us about anything. Then it would be said to Nuh, do you have any witnesses on what you said? He'll say yes. Muhammad and his ummah, his followers sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa radiyallahu anhum ajma'een. Allah Ta'ala will say to those people, when he speaks to this ummah, that we are witnesses over them, that Nuh explained the message, because it's in the Quran. And it will go like that for every single prophet and his people. So the Prophet ﷺ will bear witness over us, and will bear witness over the other people. May Allah cause us to die on al-Islam, and not to be of the people the Muslims bear witness against them Yawm al-Qiyamah. That's the meaning of shahid. That if the Nabi ﷺ was alive, he witnessed what they were doing. And Yawm al-Qiyamah, he will come as a witness over us, and we'll be a witness over him. If the mere fact that Allah said he was a shahid make him hazir nazir, then we're also shuhada in this ayah. All of us are shuhada. That means all of us also hazirun, nazirun. No one in his right mind is going to say something like that. No one in his right mind. Allah Ta'ala will ask Isa ibn Maryam, أَأَنْتَ قُلْتَ لِلنَّاسِ اتَّخِذُونِي وَأُمِّيَ إِلَهَيْنِ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. Did you tell those people, Ya Isa ibn Maryam, the Nasara, take me and my mother Maryam, make us two gods along with Allah? He'll free himself from that. He'll say from the things that he'll mention to Allah that day that's been mentioned in the Quran, مَا قُلْتُ لَهُمْ إِلَّا مَا أَمَرْتَنِي بِهِ أَنْ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ رَبِّي وَرَبَّكُمْ وَكُنْتُ عَلَيْهِمْ شَهِيدًا مَا دُمْتُ فِيهِمْ فَلَمَّا تَوَفَّيْتَنِي كُنْتَ أَنْتَ الرَّقِيبَ عَلَيْهِمْ وَأَنْتَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ شَهِيدٌ. Allah, I never said to those people other than what you told me to say to them. I told them to worship Allah, my Lord and your Lord. I'm not God and I'm not the son of God. Worship Allah, your Lord and my Lord. That's what I told them to say. And while I was with them, while I was there, I was a witness over them. But when you took me away, you caused me to die and I wasn't there, you were the witness over them. You're the one who's omnipotent. You're the one who's omnipresent. So that helps us to understand, ikhwani, that all of the prophets and all of the messengers, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim ajma'een, they are witnesses over their people while they were there. But after they die, they're not witnesses. And the dalil of that is throughout the Quran. And what was collected by Imam Muslim rahimahullah ta'ala, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam will come and he will try to get the malaika to let the people from this ummah to drink from his hold. And when the malaika stopped those people after the Prophet said, they're from my ummah, they love me, they're from my ummah, these are the people who have the names that I have encouraged them to have, they're my ummah. The malaika would tell the Nabi of al-Islam, you don't know what they introduced in your religion after you. The Prophet said, okay, get him away from my fountain. If he sallallahu alaihi wasallam ummatul Islam, if he was everywhere, if he knew everything, he wouldn't have said to the malaika wouldn't have said to him, you don't know what they did after you. How can they tell the Nabi of al-Islam, you don't know what they invented and did after you? And yet he's hazir nazir. That's the malaika. They're falling into kufr. They're falling into tawheed. They're falling into what's against the religion. If what you're saying is true, that is hazir nazir. The malaika are making a mistake. They're disobeying Allah. If that's the religion of Allah. But they're not making mistakes. Hashalillah. What they said was the truth, and it is the truth. The Nabi of al-Islam sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wallahi, he is not hazir nazir. The one who is present everywhere all the time is Allah wahdahu la sharika lahu. That's our aqidah. And if you watch those TV channels and you listen to the people and you read the books that say he's hazir nazir, that is kufrun billah. And you run the risk of fallen into the next characteristics that Allah mentioned him with, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. وَمُبَشِّرًا وَنَذِيرًا. We sent you, Ya Muhammad, and you are a shahid over the people. And you are a mubashir and a nadhir. You give glad tidings. He gives glad tidings to the believers, the people with all of their mistakes. He gives glad tidings that if you die on tawheed, you're going to go to Jannah. No matter what you did. If you died on tawheed, you're going to go to Jannah. And Allah is going to be pleased with you. And you may not have to get punished, and you may not go to the hellfire. He gave that type of bushra to the people of at-tawheed. He gave you glad tidings that you will be protected by Allah, and that you will have safety and security. Yawm al-Qiyamah at least. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبَسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِالظُّلْمِ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. Those people who believe and they don't mix up with their iman with shirk. Hazir Nazir, he has the ilm al-ghayb, magic, dua to other than Allah, showing off. They believe and they don't make shirk. These are the people who Allah has guaranteed. The bushra from the Nabi is that you are going to get the safety and security on the day when the people will be nervous when they stand before Allah. He gave you the bushra that if you die on tawheed, you'll get the opportunity to see Allah's face. Your scales will be heavy yawm al-qiyamah. You'll get the glad tidings that you'll drink from the fountain of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whether his kawthar or his hold. You'll get his intercession and his shafa' yawm al-qiyamah. Those are the bushras that you'll receive from the Nabi of al-Islam sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wasallam. يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة. That's the bushra, that if you have tawheed, you will be safe. But he also gives the bushra to those who fall into what is against the religion and they fall into shirk. He'll give the non-Muslims the bushra that they'll go into the hell fire. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for you new Muslims who may not know this, for you people who have repented and you came to Islam and this is your first or your second Jummah and you're trying to get yourself together and learn about the religion, from the sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that when he used to pass by the grave of a non-Muslim, he would say to the non-Muslims in the grave, Ubashirukum bin nar, Ubashirukum bin nar, Ubashirukum bin nar. I give you people glad tidings of the hellfire. Glad tidings of the hellfire. That's the bushra that he'll give to the people who make shirk with Allah. That's the meaning of that particular characteristic in the Quran. لا تفتح لهم أبواب السماء ولا يدخلون الجنة حتى يلج الجمل في سم الخياط. That's the bushra. You'll never go to Jannah. Jannah is haram for those people who fall into shirk. Why would the Nabi of al-Islam sallallahu alaihi wasallam take all of those years calling to the tawheed of Allah, and here we come, the ummah of tawheed, saying this nonsense? Ummah TV is haram. Madani TV is haram. You can't listen to that. You should take that TV and bust it up and break it before you do that. Drink khamr before you fall into that. And I'm not telling you to drink khamr, but in the scales, khamr pales in comparison. The Nabi told us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, Ya ibn Adam, law annaka ataytani biqurab al-ard khataya thumma laqitani wa lam tushrik biya shay'a la ataytuka biqurabiha maghfiratan. If you, Abdullah, came yawm al-qiyamah and you stood before Allah, barefooted, naked and uncircumcised, and you stood there, and you filled up this whole dunya with evil, everything other than shirk, on your scales, when Allah puts 99 scrolls on the scale, one scroll will go as far as the eye can see, and there are 99 on that scroll, on that scale. But because of his tawheed, when that tawheed is taken out, that tawheed is going to outweigh that, because the heavens and the earth have been built upon that justice of a tawheed. That's the bushra, ikhwani, that he gave and that he would bring to the believers and the non-Muslims. So you new Muslims and other than new Muslims, bring back the sunnah of going by the grave and saying to the people in the grave and giving dawah to Allah, Ubashirukum bin nar. And let it not be misunderstood that that's an example of al-Islam where we're not into community cohesion. We're into community cohesion by giving dawah in Allah and letting people have the freedom of choosing their own religion. But if they choose other than Allah, we're not going to hesitate or be embarrassed about saying, نُبَشِّرُكُمْ بِالنَّارِ لَوْ مُتُّمْ عَلَى هَذَا نُبَشِّرُكُمْ بِالنَّارِ. And he, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ikhwani, is a nadhir. He's a nadhir to all of Bani Adam, to you and I. He is a nadhir. As he said in the authentic hadith, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَجُعِلَ الذِّلُّ وَالصَّغَارُ عَلَى مَنْ خَالَفَ أَمْرِي. The one who goes against my command, he will be low, and he will be low and debased. The fawda in the Muslim world, in Libya, the fawda in Egypt, the fawda all across the Muslim world, may Allah Ta'ala help us. The stage is being set for things to change. We just want to be on the side of the firqat al-najiyah. The fawda that's going on, the Muslims, we are in mukhalif. We made mukhalif of what our religion is saying. We made mukhalif of our religion. Allah made us low. They're doing all of this to us, playing games. Allah made us low. So the Nabi warns this Muslim community, we have to be careful. If you go against his way, what he commanded after taking the contract with us out, we're believers, inshallah, we're Muslims, we're going to have problems if we go against that. That's the nadhir. And he's also a warner to the non-Muslims. He's a warner to the non-Muslims who made the biggest mukhalaf. The biggest mukhalafa is for a person to fall into shirk, for a person to innovate innovations. They made mukhalafa. As a result of that, the Nabi of al-Islam sallallahu alayhi wasallam will be a nadhir to the people. فَذُقُوا بِمَا نَسِيتُمْ لِقَاءَ يَوْمِكُمْ هَذَا إِنَّا نَسِينَاكُمْ وَذُوقُوا عَذَابَ الْخُلْدِ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. He's warning the people. Taste the punishment because of this meeting that you forgot about. You didn't remember this meeting. Taste the punishment and the eternal punishment of the hellfire because of what you used to do. That's the nazar of the Nabi, or the warning of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said, "Man mata wa huwa yad'u min dunillahi niddan dakhala an-nar." Anyone who dies and he is calling on, worshiping, he's afraid of other than Allah, he made a partner other than Allah, he said, you're going to go to the hellfire. That's the one who was sent as a rahmah, telling the people, warning the people, sister, don't make shirk with Allah, make dua to Allah to give you good health, to help the baby to come, to help you remain and to be steadfast in your issue. Don't call on the Nabi of al-Islam sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Don't go to the magician. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa ala alihi wasallam, in these ayahs of the Quran that were revealed to the Ahlul Kitab, Allah Ta'ala said that he was a da'iyan ilallah bi'idhnihi wa sirajin munira. He was a person who called to Allah by the permission of Allah. The permission of Allah, it means that he is ma'soom. The permission of Allah means that he is mahfuz. They cannot destroy his religion just as they couldn't destroy him. So stop being faint-hearted, Ya Abdullah. You can get killed, you may die, you may go to jail. But the deen of Allah, they will not be able to extinguish the light of Allah. Ever. Ever. Because he gave dawah bi-idhnillah. Because he was someone who Allah gave him permission to give dawah, his deen is ghayr mushaqqa. There's no mushaqqa on you. He didn't make this religion difficult for you. This religion is easy. If you can't pray standing up, pray sitting down. The lady is pregnant right now, and they're telling that Muslim lady, if you have this baby, it's a high-risk pregnancy. You may die. She says, I'm going to have the baby even if I die. Na'amatullah. That's not the deen of Allah. If the Muslim doctor told you, yes, high-risk pregnancy, go ahead and terminate the baby after getting some knowledge from people who have knowledge. Man taraka shay'in lillah yu'awwiduhu Allah ma huwa khayru minhu. This is not a religion that makes things difficult for you. He's a da'iyah, he gives dawah bi-idhnillah, and he doesn't have any takalluf, ikhwani. No takalluf in our deen. Takalluf, making us do things that are unnecessary. But the other thing I want to bring to your attention is that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this ayah, he gives da'wah ila Allah. He didn't come Ummatul Islam. You young brothers who are students, people are giving da'wah, people giving da'wah to his relatives. The Nabi didn't come giving da'wah to the Khilafah, to the Sultan. It's important, but that isn't his goal and his objective. He gave da'wah to Allah. He didn't give da'wah sallallahu alayhi wasallam to himself. Yes, I'm Hazin Nazir. It's all about me. Worship me, ask me, do my birthday. He gave da'wah ila Allah. Ummatul Islam, the Nabi of al-Islam sallallahu alayhi wasallam did not give da'wah to any tanzeem, to any madhab. He didn't give da'wah to any hizb. He didn't give da'wah to the jam'iyyah, any jam'iyyah. This jam'iyyat al-hadith. I say right here, as I've said many times, no one has to be a member of jam'iyyat al-hadith. I don't even call to that nonsense. Allah is not going to ask you about that. Are you a member of our jam'iyyah? And if you are a member of the jam'iyyah, but you don't know the aqidah of al-hadith, you don't know the minhaj of al-hadith, what's the benefit that you pay dues, if you pay dues, and your name is mentioned? Well, what's the benefit? Your family is from al-hadith, but we do all kinds of things that contradict that. He did not give da'wah to that. He gave da'wah to Allah. Someone comes and they criticize me, or I criticize you, and I criticize you and I say, Ya Abdullah, you have ghulu. Ya Abdullah, this position of your sheikh or the sheikh is wrong. That's what I say. Well, you say that about me, and then you turn around and say, I'm against the Salafis. You represent the Salafis. Anybody who talk about you're the Salafis. That's not our religion. That's not our religion. The da'wah has to be to Allah, Ahlul Islam. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَدْعُوا إِلَى رَبِّكَ. Ya Muhammad, call to your Lord. أُدْعُوا إِلَى سَبِيلِ رَبِّكَ. Call to the way of your Lord. Don't call to yourself. Don't call to your madhab. People will jump up and down and get upset because you say something about the madhab. Say something about Allah, no problem. How's the nazir? Where's the ghira for that? No ghira. You talked about the madhab and the imam of the madhab. The Nabi of al-Islam gave da'wah to Allah. And Allah said in these ayahs, وَسِرَاجًا مُنِيرًا. He is a siraj. He is a lamp, making things clear. He makes the truth clear. He exposes falsehood and shows the reality of the dunya, the reality of the deen. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمِنِ اتَّبَعَنِي. This is my way, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I call to Allah. I don't call to protest and march and the khilafah and this and that. I don't call to that stuff. As for the khilafah and the Muslims having khilafah and jihad, all that's from our deen. But politics is not the goal and the objective. Those are vehicles to get us to Allah Azza wa Jal. Not the goal, not the objective. So stay in the middle. Don't be of the people who reject it and don't put any importance to it at all. And don't be of the people who the religion is all about that. Those particular issues. He called to al-Islam and he called to Allah with clarity. With clarity. Allah inni taraktukum ala al-mahajjat al-bayda layluha kan-nahariha la yazighu anha illa halik. I left you people with a clear religion. With a clear religion. Hazir Nazir doesn't fit in it. I can't pull Hazir Nazir out of my pocket because it doesn't exist. I can't pull Hazir Nazir from anywhere. It doesn't exist. It's just in the figment of the imagination of the people. It has nothing to do with the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ikhwani fillah, brothers and sisters, you young brothers, you young sisters, at-tawheed, at-tawheed. La ilaha illallah. There's no God worthy of worship except Allah. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is no human being worthy of being followed and obeyed unconditionally and without any questions except Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he is al-Mustafa, he is al-Mujtaba, he is al-Mukhtar. Salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullahu ta'ala li wa lakum wa nas'alullah al-thabat wa tawfiq. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. That baby, I hear that baby's voice. I pray to Allah Ta'ala that that baby who's on tawheed will continue to grow on tawheed. And that baby will make mistakes if Allah gives it life. And he will grow, she will grow up. And she's going to make mistakes. But let not the mistake of that baby be calling on other than Allah, going overboard with Rasulullah. Because if that happens with anybody, the Nabi of al-Islam has given you the bushra. The Nabi of al-Islam sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us the warning. The Nabi of al-Islam sallallahu alaihi wasallam has called to Allah and he made it clear. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam will bear witness and he will free himself from every single Muslim or person who's claiming to be a Muslim. He will free himself from you. He will free himself from you if and when you come with something that went against his deen. So let us make it our resolve, Ummatul Islam, to make tawbah for our many mistakes, and mine are more than everybody from amongst you. That we make tawbah from the mistakes that we made out in the open and in that were private and hidden from the people, and that we want to turn back to Allah, because from the bushra of the Nabi is anyone who makes tawbah to Allah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Al-Ghafur, At-Tawwab, Allah will accept it and He'll clean you up as if you didn't do anything, provided that you don't make shirk with Allah Azza wa Jalla. Back to the deen, and we give the majd that Allah Ta'ala has in store for us. Lastly, Ikhwani, we want to ask you brothers and sisters to donate generously for Allah. Keep your money if it's not for Allah. Keep your money. But make this an opportunity right now, today, because the masjid is still in need of your financial assistance. Make a donation to Allah. Your niyat is to help to propagate and to continue the worship of Allah with the ongoing issues that we have at our masjid. May Allah Ta'ala make us of people who are al-hadith haqqa. May Allah put us on the way of the salaf, aqidatan and minhajan and salukan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring together the hearts of the Muslims, and may He pulverize the enemies of al-Islam who are making corruption in the land and playing with the people of our ummah. May He give us our rushd and give us leaders who put us in a way that is pleasing to the Lord of all the worlds. I say this, and our tawfiq is only with Allah. Establish the salat. May Allah have mercy upon you.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله